Welcome to Productive Joy with Dr. Christy, where fun meets action.
Hi, friends. Welcome to Productive Joy. Oh, we are in for a treat again today. I have a wonderful guest with us today. But before I introduce Mark to all of you, a couple things. If you're not already following this podcast, please do. It makes such a difference. And I want you to get first dibs on all of the new and brilliant things that we are sharing here. Also, if you have ideas for me, send those to me. I will talk about all the different ways that you can do that at the end. But today, this day, we have with us Mark McFatridge, who is a 33-year worth husband. He's a dad of two. He is also a dog dad, but more importantly, he's a late blooming entrepreneur who is an unbelievable sports fanatic, specifically Butler University basketball and Indianapolis Colts football season ticket holder. And he's a pretty cool dude. So, Mark, welcome to Productive Joy.
Christy, I am so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
This is going to be fun, sir. You
Oh,
and
always.
I are total happenstance friends. We met on LinkedIn, which I think is kind of a cool space to get to know other people who are like-minded. And we just kind of became fast friends and have done a couple things for each other, which is cool. So, Mark, here's the deal. You're learning this because you're a podcaster as well. People only listen for a couple minutes before they decide whether or not this is the thing they want to do today. So I'm curious how you would capture our attention in 30 seconds or less. Tell us something that you're going to drop in terms of nuggets of wisdom.
Whoa, that's a lot of pressure. Yeah. For me, I think just kind of sharing my journey of how I became that late entrepreneur, and how my early professional years kind of shaped that. And I finally just got off my ass and did it.
I kind of love it. Well, and so I'm living this a little vicariously through my own children. So I have twin 23-year-olds, and our son is finding his way. Our daughter is teaching kindergarten, and she's really excited about that path. Jackson's taking a different path and is getting ready to be an account manager for a ballet company. He did this for a while in Nashville. Now he's over here. And I say all of that because it's the learning that we do in the early years that shape our dream job later. This isn't his dream job, but it is something he's really good at and something he can get better at. So tell us how your path took you to where you are now.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you're celebrating both paths that your kids are taking. I think that's huge. Really early on when, let's see, I think our son was born. He was probably one, and my aunt who is now retired, but was a gifted and talented teacher. And one of the things that she said to me when Ryan was born was, "Mark, remember that life is about experiences, and the more that you can expose people to, the more creative they're going to be, the more happy they're going to be, the more adventurous they're going to be, and all that kind of stuff." And so we took that to heart in raising our kids. But then so I kind of blew it off professionally. But as I started to progress in my career and kind of see and get exposure to different people and leaders and that type of stuff, I took it to heart. I'm like, man, I call it pocketing experiences. And so
Hmm.
with every interaction that I have to this day, I pocket experiences. I listen to the people that I'm around, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. I've never thought about that. And this person is doing stuff really great. I want to emulate that when it comes my time to be in that situation. Or, this happens too, right? Is, ooh, they did not handle that well. I'm going to put that in the other pocket and hope I never do that. And so I was really blessed that literally throughout my entire career that I was exposed to some amazing leaders, and I would just pocket these experiences and I'd watch them and how they communicated. And how I was in banking. It is my main career. And I got some feedback one time of, look, Mark, when you become a bank president, when you go visit your branches, don't go to the branch manager's office, go straight to the teller line. And I didn't think anything about it and until I started doing it, and the reception that I got was huge. And it showed me as a genuine person. And so that was another learning, right, of being authentic and talking and asking people, what do we do well and what do we suck at, and and learning and then following up and doing stuff. And so anyway, that's kind of a long-winded answer to what was seemingly an easy question, but for me, Christy, it all started with starting to be focused on people and their experiences and trying to learn how to do things in your own way along the line. So again, sorry for the rambling, but yeah, you teed that one up for me really good.
I did, and you answered it beautifully. I actually heard several things in there that I think are great leadership lessons. One, get to know your people, right? Make sure that you are real to those you are leading and not some, fictitious figure over here that just reigns from on high, but actually know your people. I also heard to stay curious and to let others pour into you. I love the idea of pocketing experiences, and remembering which pocket to pull from, right? Like, so this is the good pocket. This is the bad pocket. You avoid this so that you don't have to make those same mistakes. There is so much power in all the things that you just said. Now, you did the bulk of your original work. I'm going to say original work because this is where you started, right? In the banking industry. And you came out of college and said you went to Butler, I'm guessing.
Yes. Yep. Good
That's why
guess.
you're the
Uh-huh.
fanatic. Okay. And
Uh-huh.
Butler is in Indiana.
Indianapolis, Indiana. Yes.
Okay, because I'm from Florida and Butler. I learned about Butler on your podcast. So you went to Butler, you came out and you said, I want to be a bank executive, or did that happen accidentally?
No, completely accidentally. So I was an accounting major undergrad, and so I'm old, so I graduated in 1990, and back in that day, if you were an accounting major, you went into public accounting, and I did,
Mm.
and I will like uh, the accounting major piece, the accounting education is phenomenal. That foundation, especially running a business and certainly in banking, was great. Public accounting was not for me, and I knew it. I knew it going in, and I suffered through a year and just hated it, and so left accounting and then got into banking. And I started out really on the retail side and did a lot of retail banking, ran a couple of branches, moved to the commercial credit area where I got to use a lot more of my accounting degree, and then moved into commercial lending. And so that really set a big foundation because in the commercial lending world, and especially the bank that I work for, getting out and calling on companies and talking to business owners and CEOs was a huge part of the role. And it was my favorite part because I got to sit in front of these business owners who launched a company and ask them, okay, why? Why did you launch the company? What impassioned you to do that? Why did you make this decision, which then turned out really great or didn't? And just being able to pick brains. And again, yeah, I was pocketing experiences before I knew I was pocketing experiences, but I was always fascinated by those conversations. And to be able to watch somebody who launched something out of their garage and grew it to a $20 million company was just like I would hang on their every word. And so was on the commercial lending side, went back to Butler, earned my MBA. They had to take me because I was a legacy. So but earned my MBA in finance, and then I moved to what I called the overhead side of the bank. So I was the chief administrative and chief financial officer for a large region here based in Indianapolis. Got to work on a huge merger on the integration team, and then my boss, you'll appreciate this story. My boss, one who's my mentor still, came in my office one Friday afternoon, shut the door behind him. I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Hey, our community banks in Missouri and Western Kentucky are kind of struggling." I said, "Yeah." He said, "I want," and they're reporting to a larger than life guy in St. Louis, but he doesn't have enough time to get out into these markets and help them grow. So I'm going to create this new banking group of community banks in Missouri and Western Kentucky. I go, "Steve, that is an awesome idea." He said, "Good, you're moving to Springfield, Missouri."
Oh,
Yeah, I swear. And so yeah, I tell the story all the time. And so on my way home, I grabbed a bottle of wine and a map, and I went home to share with Deb, "Hey, guess what?" And it was awesome, and it turned out great. But that was, foundationally, this is my first opportunity to be a president, a bank president, or a CEO,
yeah.
and it was incredible. I got to experience all these things, most of them good, but also the loneliness that happens in the CEO role, the pressure, whether you put it on yourself or that
Right.
you think is there, the trying to integrate your family and into a brand new community. We the banking group I inherited was the worst performing banking group in the company. So I mean, you've got those
Oh,
pressures,
perfect.
right? Like
Oops.
so all that stuff, but the learnings of the importance of culture, the learnings of being true to yourself, being authentic, genuine, communication, celebrating little wins, all that stuff really came out of that. And then, I had many opportunities to do that going forward.
Well, that's kind of my question for you. So you have an accounting degree, and you said investment was what your MBA was in?
Finance,
Investing?
yeah, finance.
Finance. Just finance.
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna guess there weren't too many courses in there about leading a team or about how you get people to do anything, but really that's what you've done in your career. Yes, you understood the banking side of things and the numbers, but you haven't focused your attention there. You focused your attention on the humans. How did you figure out how to be, yes, you were pocketing experiences, and I'm sure you learned from those examples, but clearly, you're good at this. You're so good at this, in fact, that you coach CEOs in circle groups. And we're going to get to Clade in just a second because that's the exciting part to me is what you've chosen to do with your knowledge. But how did you figure that out?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, first of all, I'm a horrible technical banker, so it was where it was funny when I was running a branch, and sometimes we'd be short on the teller line, and I'd volunteer to go and get on the teller line, and a lot of the tellers were like, "Please don't, like, you're gonna
Oh yeah, thanks, but
it's
no thanks.
horrible, right? We're gonna have to clean this thing up at the end, so just go back to your office, right?" But really, everything. So I never really claimed to be a banker. I always claimed to be a leader, and that from early on in my life, I played sports and was fortunate enough to be team captain on a variety of things and all that. So I've always had that leadership piece. I was surrounded by it. My stepfather was a president of a company, and so I had those exposures and always knew that I enjoyed the leading part and love putting myself out there in front. And then the pocketing of experiences, I saw how important culture and people and authenticity and we'll talk about Quaid, but what was interesting is I found that I really love turnaround things. So I love taking things that were broken and helping turn them around. And I did it with this banking group. I did it with two other banks. And what I found was I had a formula and I didn't know it until I started reflecting back on it. And my formula surrounded four E's. So the first part is engagement. So when I would start in a new role, the first thing I would do for the first 60 days is I'd walk around and I'd talk with people and I'd ask them those two questions of what do we do well and what do we suck at? And you wouldn't be amazed, but some people are amazed at what people would share. Like sometimes it's like, whoa, wait, hang on, wait, let's back that down a little bit. I don't need to know all that. So
I know, right? Don't give us all the dirty laundry today, this day.
yeah, not right now, but so engagement was kind of that first part. So people could see who I am. They understood that I'm listening, that I'm paying attention. The second part, the second E is engage or is education. And so in many times I found that people before they really accepted their role in an organization, they would just go through the motions and they didn't understand why. And so we went to great lengths to educate on, for example, how does the bank make money? What do we do with that money when we do that? Who makes a good customer? Who makes a profitable customer? How do we get to do that? And so once we focused on that and we helped educate them on not only what we do, how we do it, but most importantly, their role within it, that was huge. So that education piece, that second E was really cool, really important. The third E is then empowerment. And so once they've been educated and understand their role and what we're doing and how we're doing it, now it's go, right? It's you have the power to do this because you know who we are, you know what we do, you know how we do it, you know your role within it. Go make a decision. You don't have to ask, right? If we make a mistake, we'll talk about it and we'll figure it out. But let's go, right? Go do the right thing. You know what it is. And then the fourth E is execution. And for me, execution is really a synonym for accountability. So not only are we holding our teammates accountable for performance, but they're holding me accountable too, right? If if we set goals together, it's my responsibility to provide them the tools to be successful, and then we hold each other accountable for those two things, and we move forward. So yeah, I like I said, I didn't know I had a formula, but I did, and it was my 4 E's.
Well, and I love that you figured it out as a formula, right? This is repeatable. This is something others could do. And you kind of packaged it in a way that people could remember because great leaders create great leaders. And your job is to leave a legacy of other people who know how to lead like you did. And so I love engagement, education, empowerment, and execution. To me, sounds like the perfect way to take people from skepticism on change or experiences into ownership. And when we own something ourselves, then we're able to execute on it. The other thing that I really appreciated was trust your people. That to me is what you mean when you say empowerment is that now that you know the why, I trust you to execute on the why. I'm not going to micromanage you into doing this. I don't think it's common practice necessarily for the president of a bank to educate his tellers on how the bank makes money. And yet I'm going to do a better job at my job if I know how it impacts the bigger picture. I think that's a lesson that transcends any and all types of work. Right?
Yeah,
Like, that
no
doesn't even,
question. Yeah, and
which is
again, I think
what
that's
you're doing now. Oh,
yeah,
go ahead. Go
no,
ahead.
that's exactly right. No, I think you're dead on, and it's one of those reasons why I never claimed to be a banker because I truly feel that I could take that formula into really almost any industry, right? And lead people because that's what it becomes about.
100%, 100%. And how cool, right? How cool that you are, I don't know, that you're choosing to share the brilliance that you discovered. I think for so many people, they do their job well, but they don't ever think about how they can impact the bigger picture. And that's exactly what you're doing. So you and I met because of Quade, which is what you're doing now. And you mentioned early on that the CEO position is a lonely one. And you frequently don't have anywhere to turn to say, hey, I don't know how to do this, or this is hard, or I need help. And yet you created that space and that's growing like wildfire. Tell us about Quade.
Yeah, so the cool thing is Quade, the name Quade actually comes from 4 E's. So quad meaning four, and then I added an E to it, made up a word. So I incorporated
Oh, I
my
love it.
my 4 E's into the name of our organization. Yeah, Quade is awesome. Like and again, everything for me is foundational. So when I go back to my first role in Springfield, Missouri as a CEO, bank president, that's when I first qualified to join a large international CEO peer group. And it changed my life. It literally was the first time that I was ever to be able to sit in a room with 9 other CEOs and presidents and be completely vulnerable and say, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know if I'm doing good or not. Yeah, I think it feels like my family's struggling. It feels like I'm struggling. It feels like a bank's struggling. And like, you had these people that are like, chill out, you're going to be okay. And they're going to and they come to it with their experiences of, Mark, we've been in this situation and we did X, Y, and Z to get out of it, or we tried X, Y, and Z to get out of it, and X and Y we screwed up, but Z worked out good. So don't do X and Y. We've already messed that up. Go do Z. So fast forward, I'm still in that same CEO peer group. I'm still in a forum of people that I can lean on, and they've coached me in how to build Quade from the beginning and how to scale it now. And so yeah, we launched Quade in October of 21. The goal for me was to have a lifestyle business that was going to keep me busy for the last 10 or 15 years of my professional life, and I was going to lead a couple of groups, and two became three, became four, became five, and all of a sudden it's like, darn, this is a real business. So let's figure this out. So I was kind of forced to be an entrepreneur, if I'm being honest, and it is. It's amazing. So we kept having this impact on people who there's such a need for community now, and people are reaching out, trying to figure out who they can lean on, and it's smaller groups, and it's people that have the same challenges, that have the same opportunities. We use the word, or the word is used, or the term is used, like-minded a lot. It's not necessarily like-minded, it's like situated. And what I love about our circles and I call them allies, our members, is the diversity that comes along with it. And diversity is, you know, not just demographic, but they all come from different industries. They all come from different revenue sizes. They've been in the CEO seat at different stages in their life and different terms and so forth. And it's amazing when you get these diverse sets of people in one room, the conversations that occur and the learnings and the education and the pocketing of experiences that happen is really amazing. So super proud of what we're doing and the impact that we're having on people.
Well, and that's the thing, the impact. Your impact is impressive. And I love that you said like situated, not like minded, because we need diversity of thought. We can't all be thinking exactly the same way and expect to get any sort of good result, right? You're going to get your result, but your result isn't necessarily the result needed. And I think there's just pretty awesome that you came up with a way to replicate the bigger picture of what you found and needed as a new CEO, right? You found your group, but then you said, kind of think I'd like to run this elsewhere. So you started in the Indiana area and you've grown and it got big and it turned into a business. And I'm going to kind of shift us because I think what you're doing now, in my opinion, is productive joy, right? Like the idea, but I want to hear your definition. I always ask, what's your definition of productive joy?
Yeah, productive joy. I think for me, it's in whatever you're doing, whether it's personal or professional. It's what is something that you are interested in, and 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 that you're willing to go at it with reckless abandon, or just to search it out. I think that's what the being challenged, I think, is also something that's really important and brings joy to people, right? It's trying to do something new and that type of thing. So I think for me that productive joy, that would be kind of a rambling or definition of productive joy for me.
Well, and I watched you. I had the opportunity to come when you came to Florida and watch you in action. I would say you personified productive joy in that room. You could tell, one, that you were 100% in your element. Two, that you were doing something that you felt like was going to have a positive impact on every human in the room. And three, you had a system that you trusted enough to know it would work. And I think as great leaders, we need all of those things. We need passion for what we do. We need an understanding for how to do it in a replicable way. And then we also need to know that it's going to have a positive impact, bigger picture. So you're right where you're supposed to be. I think you know that.
Yeah, well, and gosh, thank you for that. That's I love that I portray that, because everything you said is absolutely true. One of the phrases that we use a lot in Quaid is unapologetically authentic. And that when it's funny, I rebranded quickly after we decided this was going to be a real business, and we were doing a brand discovery session, and my marketing person, Chrissy Edgington of My Why Marketing here in Indianapolis. It was almost like a psychiatric visit, right? Like I should have been laying on a couch, and she was asking me all these amazing questions, and really digging deep in all this kind of stuff. And so much of it came back with a lot of the people that I want in Quaid are people that I want to hang out with, right?
Yeah.
They're interesting, they're driven, they're willing to be vulnerable. They get culture, they love diversity, they love, challenging each other and all this kind of stuff. And we just kept talking about, who I am and what I stand for and all this kind of stuff. And Chrissy came up with the term unapologetically authentic, and I can't stop using it. And it's something I started pocketing experiences many years ago, and my most productive times, and then thus my most joyous times, were when I could be myself. And I'm like, well, screw this. Why shouldn't I be myself 100% of the time? And right. This is not rocket science, but seemingly we think too much. We overthink this stuff. And if you can just be yourself 100% of the time, you're gonna have fun. You're going to be enjoyable to be around. You're gonna have success, and whatever success means to you. But it all centers around this term, unapologetically authentic, and I've embraced it and love it. I am who I am, and it almost doesn't matter whether I'm in a boardroom or having a glass of wine or hanging out on a podcast. I am who I am.
Yeah. Well, and you said two really powerful things that I want to address. The first one, you lived your unapologetically authentic moment when you decided to go to the tellers before the manager's office because that resonated with who you are. I think there are many instances where we act in a way that goes against who we are because we think that's what's expected of us instead of allowing ourselves to go, no, you know what? I belong over here. Well, and you don't know. I give stickers, right? Like I give scratches and
Right.
stickers, as ridiculous as that is. And there have been moments where I thought, not here. And then I went, actually, this is part of who I am. And it's not about the sticker, right? It's about that instant connection.
Yep.
I think owning who we are is the number one way we can lead others because then they can own who they are in our space. And then the other would be a shout out to any and all marketing people who are good at their jobs, because I had a similar experience with the girl who helped brand AIM for me. She listened to all my ramblings where I couldn't even come up with what it is I did. And she goes, "You make work fun." Like, that's it. That's it. That's what I
What?
do. And that was right after. So you continue to be unapologetically authentic, and I will continue to make work fun. And together, really great things are going to happen, right?
Absolutely. I believe that 100%.
All right. 100%. So, Mark, we could talk for 40 forevers. I am pretty sure of it. But there are two things that I want to make sure with you. One, we have some rapid fire questions. But before we get to that, I want people to be able to find you because the goal of this podcast is for leaders who want to do it differently, who want to be great at their jobs and get others to be successful in their space. And that's really, to me, aligned very well with what Quaid wants to do, where they're giving a space for CEOs to come together and say, I don't know what I'm doing. I need help. I want to be good at this, because nobody wakes up and says they want to be bad at their jobs, right? So how might somebody find you?
Yeah, several easy ways on LinkedIn. Mark McFatridge. You can find my profile on our website is quaidcircle.com. I love it. We've done a really nice job of it. There's a cool video, a brand video that we did that has a couple of our Quaid allies on there that talks about the power of Quaid and what they've gotten out of it and what it looks like. So those are the two easiest ways. Find me on LinkedIn. We've got a great podcast called Igniting the CEO Within that I'm having a blast with. And I was telling you earlier, I never wanted to have a podcast, and I couldn't figure out what was going to be different, what would make anybody want to listen to me. And then we decided that if we highlighted the journeys of our allies to the CEO or business owner role or their entrepreneurial journey, that would be really powerful because no two are the same. And we're doing that. And it is awesome. I am having a blast doing it and recording it and sharing the stories of our allies. It's super cool.
Well, and your allies are no joke. Like, we're talking really high-end, brilliant human beings who have paved the way for the rest of us to learn from them. So yes, definitely give it a listen. It is totally worth your time. And yeah, these are some pretty impressive people, including you, right? You are just as impressive. You have orchestrated an opportunity for all of those impressive people to be in the same space, which I think is pretty darn cool. Okay, so I said two things. The second thing is our rapid fire questions. All right, are you ready? Are you psyched for?
I am. Yes, I'm pumped.
Okay, cool. Okay, so question number one: what is your definition of fun?
Living in the moment.
Ooh, good answer. Good answer. Okay, so how do you know that you are showing up as your authentic self?
Oh, I've not given myself. Yeah, I've not given myself a choice anymore. I am who I am. If my wife laughs at me, if you look at my wardrobe, like, yeah, I am my own person.
I love it. Okay, so what's your style? When you look at my wardrobe, you gave up the banking suits for something
Oh
else?
yeah. So I haven't worn a tie since 2012, I think, except for my son's wedding, and that's only because my daughter-in-law made me. So I did it for her, but yeah, no, super casual golf shirts, what are untuckets, whatever. Yeah, super jeans. You give me jeans, right? It's all day, every day. Butler
I've
sweatshirts.
recently had to switch. Yes, I've had to switch from heels to sparkly tennis shoes because my feet just said, under no circumstance are you going to jam us into these stupid spikes anymore. This is dumb. And so that's a way that I have become authentic. Like, this is all I got. Plus, I'm typically running around a room physically, and that's a whole lot easier in tennis shoes and heels. So I appreciate and support your casual comfort. Okay, how do you channel your best self on your worst days?
Yeah, so I've been toying with meditation. I don't do it well. I don't do it consistently, but I'm toying with it and learning some breathing techniques, which honestly I've gotten from Quaid Allies and being in these circles. I learn as much in these meetings, these sessions as our members do, and I'm taking notes. I'm like, I've never thought about that. I've never tried that. I'm going to give that a go. So I kind of toy with that, but really at a minimum, just taking a deep breath and realizing why we're here, what we're trying to accomplish. I've always been somebody who lets the past drop, and have always been future focused. We're in this situation. We want to get here. How do we do that? Let's go do that. It doesn't matter how we got here. This is where we want to go. So I've always been pretty future focused. So, take a deep breath, let's figure it out. And you're bummed for a minute, but let's figure out where we're going and how we're going to get there.
I love that. I love that. All right, last question. People can only really remember one major thing from an experience like this, and you have dropped a ton of wisdom on us. If people can only remember one thing from this conversation, what do you really want them to remember?
I think the big thing is right now you need to find your tribe, and you need to. And it doesn't matter if you're a CEO. It doesn't matter if you're a teller. It doesn't matter if you've never worked a day in your life. Find yourself people that you like to be around, that are like situated, that will challenge you, that will push you, that will hold you accountable, that will cheer you when you need it, that will kick you in the butt when you need that. Find those people and put your arms around them and be intentional about being around them. I think that's my biggest takeaway.
Mm. Mark, there's power in your words. We do need to find our people, and we need to recognize that we were not by nature designed to be alone. And yet, like you said, some roles feel very lonely. So what are you going to do about that? Because our sphere of influence is infinite. Our sphere of control is teeny tiny, but our sphere of influence is unstoppable. So thank you for giving of yourself today, for choosing to share all of these wonderful bits of wisdom with our team. And just thank you for being you and for choosing not to stop when you felt like you had arrived, right? I'm putting that in air quotes for those of you that can't see
Right.
me, because we don't arrive, right? But you're still growing and becoming this fantastic contributors for society. So thank you for that. I really
Awesome.
appreciate you being here.
Christy, thank you. Every time we're together, I have fun. I leave with a smile on my face. So thank you.
Good, good. That is truly my goal. And for my friends who are listening, thank you for joining us for another episode of Productive Joy. You know that I'm doing this for you. So if you don't tell me what you like and want, I can't meet those needs. So please reach out, whether that's at learningcanstick@gmail or anywhere you can find Productive Joy. Just type in Productive Joy. You should find me or Dr. Christy McMullen. It's worth it, y'all, because I do happen to run into brilliant people like Mark who are willing to share their story. So as always, my number one request of you is that you figure out a way to turn fun into action.